Well, I don't take into consideration what happens to England away from home to judge what is they're going to do at home, because their bowlers in particular perform a lot better at home than away from home. So if they lose a test match away from home, I didn't expect it, of course. I didn't expect them to lose to the West Indies, but still, that doesn't tell me that they're going to lose when they're back at home. I think what was a bit of a surprise was the fact that New Zealand got over 500 runs, got a first innings lead of over 100 runs, and still lost. That was a bit of a surprise. But then again, that just shows you what Test cricket is like. Test cricket, 5 days, you have to perform over 5 days. You can't expect to win a test match by only performing 2 or 3 days. You can lose a test match easily if you underperform over 2 or 3 days, but you're not going to win a test match by performing over 2 or 3 days. It's a great measure of a team's skill, ability, endurance, and England came out the better because they just maintained their performance over a longer period of time. Well, they weren't trying to go for a win. They certainly were not trying to go for a win in the last inning. They lost 2 wickets before a run was on the board. So they weren't trying to win. They were trying to then survive. So I wouldn't say that their tactics cost them the test match in the second innings. You could possibly say that the tactics of being so attacking when they were in the field allowed England to get their runs reasonably quickly, which then allowed them to win a test match with so much time left. But when they were batting, I wouldn't fault the tactics that they had batting, because they certainly were not trying to get all those runs. Well, he certainly has potential. I would start going that far yet. I prefer to see people performing over a period of time before I start thinking of things like that. But he certainly shows himself to be a very good cricketer. He's a good batsman. He's a proper number 6 batsman. He got some wickets in the test match. I wouldn't say he's a star bowler as yet, but he's more a support bowler than a frontline bowler. But he's a young man. He's a very young man. He has many, many years in front of him. And he certainly has the potential to develop him to be a great cricketer for England. Very good knock. Outstanding knock. From last summer, I said on Sky that I was impressed with the way that Alistair Cook was trying to fight back. He had a weakness, a glaring weakness that I saw 5 years ago that I didn't understand why bowlers and teams took so long to exploit that weakness. They finally found out about 18 months ago. They exploited the weakness, but he has gone away and worked on it, and he's certainly a lot better now. That weakness that I thought that he had of coming forward, whenever the ball was pitched up to him, he had difficulty because his front leg, his right leg, was never ever bent when he came forward. So that made it almost impossible for him to get over the ball. But he certainly has worked on that, and we saw in the test match, especially in the second innings when he spent a bit of time at the crease, that his technique coming forward was a lot better. So he obviously worked on that. And that is what you expect of test cricketers. If you are doing something and people are finding a weakness in whatever you're doing, whether you're a bowler, batsman, whatever, it's up to you to go away and work on that weakness to continue to be successful. And that is what he has done.